Today on Jer and Jeff Eat New West, it is day 4 of our holiday takeover with El Santo. Today we're learning how to dice shallots.
And onions.
And onions, their little friend.
Today we're going to learn how to cut and dice shallots and onions. You're going to need at least a shallot, an onion, a sharp knife, a cutting board, and that's about it. We're going to start with a shallot. Shallots are really simple. They're very similar to onions, but they're substantially smaller, so you're not going to need to do as many cuts. So you take the shallot, you cut it in half, and then you cut slits lengthwise. You do want to leave the end intact when you cut it. That way you don't cut all the way through when you have it all falling apart. So once you've cut it lengthwise, you're going to take the heel of your knife almost to the end, and you're going to cut it down, not quite cutting through the bottom, but cutting it through, and then just come across, and you're going to get a nice mince or dice or whatever size you want to do. You can also dice it bigger, obviously. That one I did 2. This one I'll do 1 cut. I'll do 4 cuts, and you're going to get substantially larger diced shallots. It's easy to control the size. It's easy to make them consistent and regular when you do it that way. And then we're going to do our onion. So to do an onion, we're going to start with a whole unpeeled onion. What I find easiest when you're doing an onion is to cut the smallest amount off the top, the smallest amount of the bottom. You're going to want to keep that root on the bottom so that while you're cutting it, it doesn't fall apart, similar to the shallot. And then for an onion, a lot of people try and peel them when they're whole. I don't find it easy. It's a lot more difficult, so I usually half them because that's what we're going to use, and then I'll peel the halves. And then we're going to want to save all of this onion peel, all the bottoms, all the ends, and we'll save that in the restaurant, and you should probably save it at home for veg stock. It's something that we make quite often, something around your house. So we're going to take that onion, we're going to cut it through, same as the shallot. We're going to do more cuts. The root's still on it, and that really is going to hold it all together while you dice it and mince it. And then when I'm cooking with onion, with anything in the restaurant, I usually want it very small diced, unless you want the texture of the onion, but often you don't. You want the flavor of the onion, and you want all of that. So I'm gonna small dice it so that as it cooks, it usually falls apart a lot more, disintegrates a lot more into whatever you're cooking. So we're gonna dice this very small, and this is what we'll use for a sauce, or if we're gonna do a vinaigrette or anything like that, you want this small dice. And then we're going to also slice an onion. For slicing, we are gonna take this little piece off. If we don't, it's going to stick together and you're never going to get slices to come apart. And then a lot of people cut this way. What happens if you do that is you're going against the grain and you're bruising the onion a lot more. And so when you do that, you're breaking down the onion too much, it's going to start to get bitter. So if you cut against this way, you can slice it relatively thin. And this is the slice that you'd use if you're using like a caramelized onion, or you're just doing a quick cut if you want to blend a soup or blend a sauce or something. You can slice it like this, it's a little bit quicker. We're going to do thin slices, and we're going to do them consistent, and that's going to end up with a really nice product that's going to hold together. You're not going to cry as much because you're not bruising that onion as much, and that's how we cut onions and shallots.
Thanks for checking this out. Just a reminder, El Santo is having a sock, underwear, and canned food drive from now until December 20th. You can drop those off either at El Santo or at the River Market. And come back tomorrow. We're going to learn how to caramelize those onions.